Next, we will be showing you the event management process. No matter what road your student group is a member of, the process for requesting space and registering events is the same. All events must be registered and approved by SAO. This confirms that you are going to use the space you requested. Also, expenses associated with an event will not be processed until the event has been approved. Before you submit anything on OrgSync, you should have an overall vision of the event. Think about a few places where your event would be successful. Also, have a few dates in mind. Your first choice may not always be available, so be prepared to adjust. You can request this space through 25 Live. To register your event, go to the Event tab on OrgSync. On the event page, you will see upcoming and past events that your student organization has hosted. You will see on the right-hand side, there's a green button that says Create an Event. Click on that button, and then follow instructions on the form. Fill out the form with all information you can. If it's a repeating event, for instance, a weekly meeting, select Weekly under Repeating so that you don't have to keep submitting this form. For example, let's say we're hosting an event. In the Participants section, you will report who your event is open to. Attendees can RSVP here, but keep in mind that this is just informational. Any event requiring an RSVP or a ticket must have an Eventbrite page. Any event open to the BU community or public will also be put on the BU calendar. Now on to the Event Overview section, which helps SAO activities consultants, or ACs, and the service providers know what kind of event it is, who is involved with it, and the location. If you need to gather more details and leave the portal, you can click the Save and Finish Later button located at the bottom of the screen, and you'll find the pending form in your profile we mentioned before. In the Reservations section, you will be asked to put the event number, which is located on your confirmation email from reservations. If you book through another department, such as FitRec, put down 0000 and upload a screenshot of the confirmation you received from that department. If you booked through the reservations office, you will upload the space reservation confirmation in PDF format. The confirmation you receive from reservations must match the details of the event request form, time, location, etc. If the details do not match, it will delay the process. This section will also ask the logistics of the event, such as what time the event actually starts and what you are planning to do during that event. This information will help the service providers know what is happening at your event to be able to staff and accommodate properly. Keep in mind, the event registration does not confirm support from service providers. You must still request their services through the Treasury. We'll get to that in a few minutes. If you are renting an activity as part of your event, you must use an approved vendor. Also, most rental items like mechanical bowls or tents require a permit. The other reason you would need a permit is if you are having amplified sound during an outside event. Fortunately, you do not need to process the permit. You need to contact Crystal Eusebio, Assistant Director in the Student Activities Office, and she will work with you to complete and submit the form, but you must plan in advance. Permits take a minimum of 6 weeks to process. The deadline is not flexible. If you plan to show a film on campus, you must submit a film right request, which is located under the Forms tab. There are 2 ways you can secure film rights. 1, you can often find the film on Canopy, a film library available through MUGAR. If you get the film from Canopy, a film right request is not required. If the film is not from Canopy, the film rights request form is required and must be submitted 4 weeks in advance of the showing. You cannot simply grab a DVD from your personal collection or a streaming service like Hulu or Netflix to show the movie. Catering on the Charles is the required food service provider on campus. You can access the student catering guide directly in the Treasury. If your desired menu is more complex, you can contact Catering on the Charles and discuss your specific food needs for the event. There are several catering-free zones, such as the Sargent Activity Center, George Sherman Union basement, or 3rd floor, and the basement of the School of Theology. Your provided food must be ordered from an approved outside vendor in any of these spaces. Exceptions to use of Catering on the Charles anywhere else on campus must be approved by catering. In order to do that, fill out the catering exemption form found under the Forms tab. This must be submitted provided a minimum of 2 weeks in advance. Now we will go into event specifics to help our staff understand what is included in your event and whether you need additional support. If you are having a speaker and paying them, you will need to follow the contract process. Performance contracts are for outside vendors such as DJs, photographers, or speakers. If you are paying a performer or speaker for an event on campus, then you must use the BU on campus contract. This also requires a W-9 from the performer. If the contracted amount is for less than $5,000, it typically takes 3 weeks to process. If it is more than $5,000 or if it is for an event off campus, then it typically takes 6 weeks to process. Remember, students should never sign any contract. If your speaker is coming for free, then you can send them a letter of agreement. The text for this appears on its own page. This is a way you can put in writing what the speaker has agreed to. While not required, we highly recommend it. If you are having a raffle or accepting donations, you must fill out a raffle and charitable donations form. You can find this under forms as well. If you're including a bar, there are a few extra requirements. 1. It must be a bar provided by a licensed vendor. On campus, this would be catering on the Charles. 2. You must provide food and we will ask for documentation. 3. If you're an undergraduate student group, you are required to have a chaperone present at the event. Student Activities has an agreement with Eventbrite, which allows you to sell tickets at a significant discount. Instead of $2 per ticket, our student groups only pay 50 cents. You will complete an Eventbrite request form, and the Student Activities Business Office, known as SABO, will set up the Eventbrite page for you. If you are simply collecting RSVPs for a free event, there is no charge to use Eventbrite, but you still must have SABO set up the page. And lastly, if you are expecting sponsorship for your event, you need to connect with SAO to ensure the sponsorship doesn't conflict with any university agreements. For example, Coca-Cola cannot sponsor your event because we are a Pepsi campus. At the end of this form, we have provided a list of deadlines that are important for you to follow in order to ensure services that you need for your event can be provided. Planning in advance is key. As a reminder, here is a list of deadlines for your event. The very last step is to let us know who your president is. Your president will get an email from OrgSync asking them to review and approve this event. The staff at SAO will not review your event until after the president has approved it. As we said earlier, you must register all events in order to get services or to get reimbursed. If you do not register your event, you cannot get reimbursed. Only registered and approved events are eligible for reimbursement and services. Once you've submitted the event request form, you can go back and check on the status of your event. You will see event request detail in an orange box. Click on that to see your event details that you just submitted. In the Conversations tab, an AC will let you know what else you may need for your event. It is important you pay attention to the notifications and the comments that the ACs leave in the Conversation tab. The Conversation tab is a two-way communication tool. The ACs can communicate with you, and you can communicate with the ACs. In order to check the status of your event request, look on the right side of the event submission. You can also see whether or not the president has approved the event or if anything is still pending. If you are the president, only you can view the approve or deny options located on the right-hand side of your screen. If you need to cancel an event for any reason, you must submit an event cancellation form. The event cancellation form is under the Forms tab. It is your responsibility to submit that form and to contact the service providers and to let them know that your event is canceled in order to avoid being charged. If your event is not canceled with enough notice, you may still be financially responsible for event expenses. Now to the Treasury portion of this training. This is how you request services from our campus service providers and make payments to outside vendors. Service requests are how you communicate with our campus partners. In order to do this, you must submit a withdrawal request, which means you must know what you need for an event. Submitting a withdrawal request is considered a service request. Our campus partners will receive the request, review them, and get in touch with your student group if they have any questions. To find that form, go to the More tab at the top of the screen, and there you will find Treasury. Click on it, and you will see two options: Manage Budget and Manage Revenue Funds. The difference between budget and the revenue funds is the revenue funds are your student group's funds. The budget feature is where allocations board request is submitted. This is applicable for Beacon and Commonwealth groups. If you receive any AB funding, please use the budget side to make your request. Let's take a look at some basics on the revenue side. Click Manage Revenue Funds. From there, you will see your balance. If the number is in red parentheses, it means you have spent more money than is available in your group's account. This means you have a negative balance. On this page, you can also see all of your requests. On the right-hand side, scroll down and click on a button that says See All Requests for a more in-depth list. This is also where you can see the status of your request. On the dashboard, you can see your activity, whether you have any unsubmitted forms or approved forms pending approval. Your status will either say approved or denied. However, if more information is needed, the form will be sent back to you and your status will be marked as partial. Now let's go back and walk through how to submit a payment request. At the top of the page, you can see the Create Withdrawal button. Click on it. Once you click on the button, the withdrawal title box will pop up. The title must include the name of the event, the date, and the type of service. For example, Pizza Party, October 30th, 2018. See Anthony's. This means you are hosting a pizza social event on October 30th and you are requesting pizza to be served. Under the Payment Type drop-down menu, you have to select the type of vendor and then select the specific vendor you'd like to pay. The questions on the form will change depending on which payment type you choose. For example, if you pick outside vendor, groceries, and food, it will populate the approved vendors for that category. For example, for this we would choose T. Anthony. On the withdrawal details section of the form, you have to type in the title again, and it should be the same as your withdrawal title. Below that, there's a drop-down menu, and you select what matches the type of event you are having. There's another drop-down menu that says Line Item, and pick the description that fits your event. For the event, it is usually called Event Expense. The other options include Operational Expense or Donation. Type in a description if needed. Feel free to add comments on the summary section. You can clarify the date, time, and if it is a recurring event, please include that information. You must contact the service to get the price quote prior to filling this out. For example, if your student organization is on Bay State Road, your facility setup options are limited to as-is setups only. Also, Bay State groups can only access basic SPS setups. Under the Upload Document section, what you upload depends on what you are paying for with the withdrawal request. If you are paying for a service such as custom facilities, you must upload a diagram and confirmation from facilities for the cost. If you are paying for an outside vendor, then you would upload a quote or invoice. You must provide documentation of why you are withdrawing money from your account, and the request must match the itemized list. In the additional comments section, feel free to add any additional details that you deem important for the business office. Once you complete this form, press Submit on the bottom of your screen. Any Treasury requests have to be approved by your treasurer. Two important terms to be familiar with is the Internal Service Request, or ISR, which is used for internal BU vendors. After you submit the request in Treasury, SABO generates the ISR. Each approved service is assigned an ISR number. For example, Student Production Services. Just like your events section, Business Office will also make comments if any information is needed. Let's briefly review deposits. If your student organization has earned money from Eventbrite, then SABO will generate the deposit for you. It takes about 2 weeks after your event to receive these funds. If you have a cash deposit, go to the business office to deposit it into your account. If you have a deposit in the form of a check, then it should be made out to the trustees of Boston University. Your student group should be noted in the memo line. Again, bring these to SABO for deposit. With both the withdrawal and deposit forms, there's a comment section. That is where you can follow up on the status of your request. As I mentioned before, the comment section is vital, as this is how you communicate with SAO and how we communicate with you. For more information on treasuries, please see the Treasury training. Student Activities Business Office, SABO's role is to review your deposits, withdrawals, and to make sure everything is paid for appropriately. Make sure the documentation you upload matches the request you are making. If information is missing or not accurate, it can slow down the process. If any issues arise, SABO will contact you through the comments section. The Treasury is also how you request and pay for name tags, posters, flyers, and t-shirts. Anytime you want to purchase something, you must reference the vendor handbook, which is available in the file section. These approved vendors have agreements with BU. If you want to use a vendor that is not on the approved list, you must speak with SABO, but we cannot guarantee your request will be approved. You can come visit SABO in the Student Activities Office or email them at sabo@bu.edu. There's one important change that we need to tell you about in order to reserve facilities.
All right, so we mentioned this a little bit before. We glanced over the Forms tab, and we mentioned the Facilities Package Request before. So this is new this year, so that if you had pulled up your Files tab and looked at the Package Handbook, and say you wanted to plan an event, maybe it's in the in BU Central, maybe it's in the Photonics Colloquium Room, in the alley, any of those places, you can look to see what packages we have already set up with facilities to be able to provide this to you. So if you choose any of these packages that are listed here in the package handbook, then they will be no cost to your student group. So you'll go in to request these services by going to the facilities package request and begin the form. So you're going to scroll down and you're going to find the package that best suits the needs of your group. Again, you're going to have to look this up in the package handbook to determine which one you want. You'll see that they all have costs associated with the number. That's just for us to know so that we can pay facilities for you all, but we've already set that money aside through allocations board funding to be able to provide these facilities package setups for you. In addition, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll be able to see some extra add-on items. So for example, if you wanted a photo booth setup, if you wanted pipe and drape over maybe the pictures in the Metcalf GSU lobby, if you needed extra staging, extra tables, any of those things, those are all right here. And then if your setup is straying away from the package at all, that you have these additional items, it's a good idea to always upload a diagram anyway, or say how many cocktail, however many extra cocktail tables you want, or if you need extra staging, but you only need one piece, it goes up to 4 pieces. So that's what this additional comment section is, to be able to specify exactly what you need from your group. Another thing that I wanted to be able to mention is part of our guest policy for upcoming events. And you can find this in the news feature of OrgSync as well, that we have posted about this. I'll make it big enough so that you can see where it is. But basically, the guest policy applies to any events that are concerts or dance style parties that are open completely to the public. So this is important because you are only allowed to bring 2 guests per 1 BU student, and the guests must have their college ID or be over 18 years of age with their government issued ID. There will be a sign-in process, and if you're ticketing through Eventbrite, whether it's free or not, the guest policy has to be stated on Eventbrite. So just a quick thing to note to make sure that everyone's on the same page as part of the new guest policy.